The O in R stands for music orgasm.
Okay, all right. Welcome to Ozok Podcast, and that's episode 4. And today is me against the world. Now, normally I mention my piece. I'd say that I have to cook, and I mention my piece. But for this particular episode, I'm not the one who's cooking. Truth be told, I'm not. And the reason why I'm saying that is because in my life experience, especially related to the title, is that I've had really good support. So I have a mother who has honestly been the foundation to my existence. Despite the fact that she could get too much and I'd need a break from her, truth be told, but she has really been the foundation to my life. Then I've had my sisters, Amanda and Grace, and they have been honestly the pillars. I know that if anything had to pop off, they would be the first to say, let's go. And there'll be even times where I don't tell them what I'm going through because I know that they're cray-cray. So I purposefully just manage those relationships. But honestly speaking, that they've been my pillars. And my partner has been the Plascon waterproof paint. So she has really made it manageable during those rainy days. And that's the truth. So in relation to the title, I mean, really the title is dedicated to my guest because he really has a fascinating and inspiring story to tell. And yeah, without any further ado, John Ross, aka Ricky Rose.
Man, thanks for having me on the show, man.
Yeah,
Yo, such a strong title, and where we come from with this title, it's life changing.
Yeah.
Tears.
Yeah.
Oh man, people that you've disappointed on the journey, friends that you've lost. I need people to understand the center stage of individuality, but when I mean individuality, in the deepest where you have no way to get out. They always say, you look at a tiger, when a tiger is plugged up against a wall, it fights forward. Yeah. But what if you can't fight forward? You mold yourself into that wall, you become that wall, and you become a place where people can batter. Yeah. No, it's like you take a chair and throw it against the wall, it won't move. Yeah. I always tell people that I was that person. I spent my life, wanting to be the guy that is known. And it ridiculously so, because it was so ridiculous because I would sacrifice my pride for other people's joy.
When you're saying this, and look, there'll be people that are watching this show and they would not understand the depth of what you're saying. When someone sees you now and then they can say, oh, this person had a soft life because it seems like things are made for him. You know? I mean, you're doing well for yourself. So surely they would not be able to fathom the things that you've gone through. So for us to sort of unpack some of the stories and get to where you are now, I want to set the scene a bit. Okay. Let's set the scene. And the first scene that I want to set is the infamous black A3 with the Rick Ross beard,
yes.
Shiny.
Yes.
Let's set the scene from there. What was happening during that time when there was that infamous black A3?
Oh, wow. Black M3.
Oh, it's the A3.
No, A3. Sorry.
Yeah.
Black A3 belonged to a friend. So happens I get kicked out. I was living in Hillbrow. Was with my mother, who has now turned into one of my greatest friends, my confidants. We had a fight, broke out, and I started living with a friend who's very famous, and he took me in. John Ross, come stay. But in that time of my life, I was drowning. I had to try and make means to fit in, to show society that I'm something, right? At that time, I'm dating a lady who has so much demands of me. I will not disrespect her, but at that stage, I wasn't ready for that kind of relationship, and where I put myself in a position where, I needed to show the world that, that whole notion, fake it until you make it, and which is the worst thing that anybody ever made. Living life, slowly and surely I got introduced to drugs, and in that stage of my life, we are moving, things are happening. I recently got, so happens that some of the money I had, I got fired from, can I mention names?
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
I got fired from a mutual, old mutual, as an insurance broker, trying to make a living, But I wasn't there. My space of mind wasn't there. I was trying to make it into this fast world called Joburg, seeing people in the entertainment who knew me, like John Ross. Let's push. Let's get into it. And I'm trying that time. And look, to tell the truth, I didn't know a lot. I was a young man trying to make it out on the streets, but I let the streets get the better of me. I drowned. I left with this woman. We left for Cape Town, and in that process, people could see me living the life, but I wasn't happy inside. I wasn't happy inside. Moved to Cape Town for about 6-7 months. I tried committing suicide. I wasn't happy. I was on the streets in Cape Town. I was in Clement for about 2 weeks. It just brings a bit of, I get a bit teary-eyed because it's a place that I don't wish for anybody in the world to ever go there. Because, people say they love you. Until you know how to love yourself, the world won't love you. Got into that space where I'm living in Clement, come back again. By then she was good friends to me. We're still friends. We still talk. Bonang sent me money with her mother to come back at home and restart my life again. So I came back and got thrown back into Hillbrow. Hillbrow comes a corner stage of my life where I need to get out of this place. Yes, before I had learned the craft of the business in the entertainment space. Met the right people, but it proves to you when you come back home and restart again, there's only a few people that you can call family and friends, And in that journey alone, you learn that people say they are there, but they're not there. Your family is there, but they're not there. You understand? Fast forward into that, I meet a person who I consider a great friend for me today, Osborne Mkhize. We get into managing artists into business, making mistakes, walking to gigs, some things that, we meet the great DJs like DJ Hansen, but people who took you in and they took you as you are. We even tried to manage an artist,
So the one episode that I had with the captain, regarding Captain Savahan.
Yeah.
So that's episode 2. I was telling them about how I had this one experience where I had a gig in Four Ways.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to mention the details. I want you to try and get it. Had a gig in Four Ways.
Yeah.
I was told, okay, get into this van. We'll see what happens.
Yes.
Got into the van. I don't know. Do you remember anything yet?
No, I remember. It's starting to pop.
Got to a hotel.
Yeah.
Get to a hotel. Got into a room only to find out there were 2 prostitutes.
Oh, man.
And there was this one random guy. And then remember that one of them, lied to you. Remember the one that wanted to be in a relationship with you? Yeah. So I had that. I was like, so I was narrating that story and how crazy the past has been. Like one thing will lead to another.
Oh man.
Yeah, nothing was scripted.
Nothing was scripted, right?
Yeah.
And this is what I tell people today, and like, it's so hard when people don't believe that where you are versus where you come from. You know, as the most beautiful part, not the beauty, but also the sadness, those glimpses of happiness in that sadness. I tell you, even with that happening, with us going to a hotel, we were trying our best.
We were trying our best.
Honestly. We didn't know.
Yeah.
You know, we met these guys, you know, they take you to Durban, they show you, they shower you with money, come DJ, come do this. And you try.
You just try. Even with the sex workers, like, I even mentioned that they also were trying.
Yes.
They were trying to live. And the one that liked you, you know, at some point we communicated. And,
yes.
you know, she said that she had left the industry.
Yeah.
And she was trying to push her own way, you know. So it shows that everyone is just in a struggle some way or another.
You know, us, the biggest, you know, the struggle is also a mirror to other people's happiness. And I say that because in tune of a person seeing you, and I take it from my side, and there's a lot of people happy in my struggle. You know, like when I was in Hillbrow, and there's a time my dad picked me up in Hillbrow. Parts of my family were like, no, all right, akahlale lapha khona, all right, lapho uzobondeka. Because my African name is Linda, and it's like ulinda uzozibona ukuthi uzoyenzani elifeni. And when we get into it and where I am, you'll understand where those people are. But in that struggle, people are happy. People don't understand it. And it broke me. Some so close that we even share a mother and father. Said, being my stepmother, you know, and so close. I remember once, they're like, you're a failure, you'll never accomplish to anything in your life. All right, lapho khona. And, you know, by then I'm sleeping with boxes because we had a downstairs room, it was flats, and, you know, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't, it was conducive, but it wasn't, you're living, man. Wake up, go work. I had to work for my mom's business, you know? And all of that said, people don't get us because when they begin to see your success, they forget what was said in your lowest low. You understand? And even to some point, I wasn't taken seriously because I wasn't bringing something to the table.
Jeez.
That struggle alone kills you. As I remember a time again when I wanted to commit suicide again. And I remember it was you and Osborne who used to get us. We used to go to Vanda and stuff like that. So he used to pick us up. And in that interim of picking up, you know, this person would make sure that you're fine. Yes, you've got your cool drink, you've got whatever. We're going out, we're going to a gig. I still remember I had a black GTI. We'd go to gigs. But there was a day that we actually went, all of us, to Pretoria. In my head, I was contemplating of jumping off that 2-story.
Don't say that.
I was like, there's no way. There's no way I'm going to. It was hard.
Because you had clearly several, not just one, several attempts.
Yes.
Because I remember there was a time where in Buffington you even showed me your wrist.
Yes.
And then how you tried.
Yes.
To slit your wrist.
You know, it was crazy, man. You know, when you think of there's no way of getting out. There's no way of getting out.
Which is why this title really is befitting, because even your own family did not believe in you. And they literally told you that you deserve to be where you are. What about your friends? What about your close confidants at that time?
So, close confidant is the guy, and I hold him to close regard, is a guy who helped us. I remember when we were sitting down, a guy who also helped me put in a capital, is Tammy Masham, one of my good friends. I remember when I said to Tammy and things, I was like, bro, I want to get into the energy industry. And this is about.
But before we get to the energy business, because I'm still in the Hillbro.
Yeah, so I'm getting to that.
Okay.
So I'm not going there yet. So,
okay, all right.
So tell me, like when you mean confident, and Tammy gets me into that place and he says, John Ross, I'm still working. I remember I was working for a magazine, and I think you and I and Oz and everybody, there's a guy, I hope one day sees us, we miss him, blessing. But he said, go for it. Went into it. I'm in Hillbro that time. It's that time where you living. I remember, if you had 29 Rand on Vodacom, you buy 29 Rand and you get another 30 minutes. That's how I started the business. But before that, but even within that, there was things that were failing us. They were failing us. But every time I speak to him, I don't push. When you have a person like that, you almost go into life and say nothing is impossible. Then there was because I worked at my mom's shop, there was rest in peace, her name was Tato. Oh man, where do I start? I couldn't even make it to her funeral, because at that stage what I was going through is also drinking and taking drugs. Couldn't make it to her funeral. She was buried in Hammanskraal. I made a promise to her mom that this year I'm going to go do something for her. This lady gave me money, like go to your meetings, go to whatsoever. And I used to confide in her, in Tammy, and I was like, and these are the two people that said to me, you will make it. And I don't know if you ever remember our conversation. I think by then in the in and outs, part of, not just because we're here, but part of the processes, in my mind, what we call them, they're called Ingrams. Ingrams is our thoughts that you keep in the back of your head. Still remember our conversation. You're still at Auckland Park. And you're like, John Rasmund, somehow. And because I viewed it as, Oz is fine, everybody is fine. And you kept on telling me, it will get better. Other Osborne Namakabane said to me as well that if we feed and give you money, it won't make your situation better, it will only make it worse. Those words resonate. And all of these people that I'm counting mattered in my life. These guys that, who owns a very good company, if I can, and Utepo, and he said to me, John Ross, I've got money, but I'm not going to give you money. And that time I was in need. I don't even have 5 Rand in my pocket. That time I'm a smoker. As much as you think about it, smoking reduces. It's bad, but hey man, people have their own ways of dealing with stuff. But with every individual telling me what they told me, even the people who said hurtful stuff, has built me. You understand? But the biggest part of it is that nobody ever tells you how to deal with pain in that stage. I had to learn to deal with pain.
But how do you feel if someone has the means to assist you and then tells you that I'm not going to assist you?
Man, it hurt. I almost felt like this person would rather see me fail. But now where I am in my life, it had to happen like that. Then I didn't understand. it's like my biggest part of my life is I tell everybody, everybody, and I'm sure you've heard, my grandmother. She was everything to me.
I know you always speak about your grandmother.
I miss her till today.
Yeah.
Till to this day, every time I do something, I have to go to the cemetery, talk to her. She groomed me to be a stronger individual, but in some places of my life, I failed by wanting to take my life away from myself. Because it was hard. You know? Being hard and being strong, and when a person tells you, yes, but I can't. Do you understand? It's almost like, yes, I have money, but I can't give it to you. You don't understand. You're talking to a person who doesn't have money.
Now, in that moment, and I'm talking about, within that scene of the hill, bro, and also including other moments where things were seemingly they were picking up, or from the external perspective, they looked like they were picking up, because what we could see is that you were very connected. I mean, some of the household names right now you were friends with personally, weren't you not?
Yes, still are. And you need to remember that we live in a world that if a person is real, I'm going to put it like how they put it on the streets. If it's real, it's real. If it's not, it's not. Right? And some of those people who are household names, you know, some of them fell apart from my life. And those are the types that showed me that, hey, I'm not for you.
Like who? If you're willing to get in. Or no, up to you, Ross. If you want to get in,
you know,
it's entirely up to you.
I don't want to mention names, but those that are there, and I still remember, you know, like I'll talk about the more positive ones.
Yeah.
Even till today, when I come and I talk about, and I'm just wondering, where are they? You know, you talk of Sean Pages, you know.
Oh yeah. Sean Pages was one of the real guys.
It was one of the real. Tito. I remember El Tito, Sean Pages.
Yeah.
Tito, yes. Sean had a Opal. And there's a club. It was in Braamfontein. It was a big club, man.
Okay.
Not Blackout. It was a big club. And at the time I stayed in Hill, bro, these guys had no way. They're like, oh, John Nas, my boy, we drop you off at home. And they dropped me off at home with no judgment. You know, guys I grew up with on the road, if I'm running, I see their layers, you know, it's still friendship. But remember, and some people never get to see the sad part, because you never show everybody the sad part. And that's why I think I was living a facade. I was faking myself into a reality that wasn't mine. I was somebody else. I was, back then, John Ross Twala. Everybody wanted to know, you know? And when you look at people, you know, even per se, even when she started getting famous, and she's beautiful at her craft, you know, and we're still good friends. But now we're still good friends. Even when I needed her, she was there. That's how I got back home. You know, when I want to talk to Slick, I can't talk to Slick. I have their numbers. You know, I can talk to DJ Oz. I have his numbers. There's people that you have their numbers, but you never ever call. That's a problem. And those in the limelight who shout, and I'm not going to look down on them and mention them, but they fine, you know? And the positive people like who I've mentioned, I even remember, you know, Sugar Smacks, you know, when I was doing just a bit of work there, but being such positive people, man. You know, Slick was a positive motivation in my life. You know, he even sometimes took me to show me how you do business, and that's positivity. And I still talk to, we drop messages to each other. Names, what a positive spirit, you know. Rest in peace, Tibbs, you know, still cool. Hey, I remember we met last year, and it's like, I'm mfethu sapusha shapa pusha danga. You know, and you look at people like that, and they're like, oh God, why do you take them away? But he was also the one guy, Tibbs, that we're in a club and he's standing there crossing his hands. You're not getting in.
Yeah.
But that was also his paper making money.
Yeah.
And I remember once sitting down and look at the positive in it is he also said, you only your bet. He had a word that he only said, you're only as good as your last game and you need to continue being better at what you do in life. That's just it. Dimples, rest in peace. Same person. I remember telling him, I was like, I went with pop balls with my wife 3 years ago. I met him there and he's like, Wabona, kujweli, sharp no. You can even afford balls. How's us broke? I used to hustle to get into everywhere else.
Yeah.
Even to give a bodyguard. And they used to take it, you giving the person 10 rand to just get in, this is a high paying client. I still remember you were DJing there at Mayno's event. Luckily we got in because of you, but when the bodyguards at the door, like you take out the old rusty 10 rand and they look at you. Now when they see you, they're like, there's that guy.
Yeah.
In pain there was beauty, but in pain there was lessons.
But do you not think that it's easier said now because you've gotten to a point where you're reaping the benefits of the pain, but what about the person who's still going through it? Because it's not always that people manage to exit that loop.
So I'll take a loop a bit back, and I'll tell you of my and how to deal with it. And I'm not saying you'll be able to deal with it tomorrow or whatsoever. I told you how. Maybe this can inspire somebody else. When I broke away from drugs, this is I'm about 11 years clean. I stopped. My nose was bleeding. I had a headache that wouldn't go away. I was emotional. I was crying. I was everything in one. I knew there was one decision I had to do. I had to admit it to myself. Then the biggest what I did, and people were like, "You're still crazy for doing what you did." I told my mom, my father, and my whole family.
Sure.
I went to my mother's high as a kite.
Yeah.
I was high. I was a kite.
Jeez, bro.
And I said to my mom, I'm on cocaine and I want to stop. In a fight, I told my dad, I'm on cocaine. I want to stop. Tell my older siblings, my brother slapped me. I didn't fight back because I wanted to stop. First lesson to admit to John Ross Twala. Do I blame whoever introduced me to the drug? No. I wanted to. So that means I took the full ownership. It belonged to me. Do you understand? And for me not doing well in my varsity life or in my school life, is that anybody's fault? It was me. I had to come out of that. My failures, it was me. And all of these things that I'm telling you and saying, it's me. I am basically telling you that I had to learn and say, I'm at fault. I am not a victim. Nobody is at blame except John Russell and the Twala. Understand? And within that, I started a process of healing. Do I believe that in the way Christianity helped me? Yes and no. Do I know God? Yes, I do. Am I a sinner? Yes, I am. But in that journey is self-realization and saying, I'm wrong. I need help. I need to stop wanting to kill myself to get out of the corner. John Ross, don't mold yourself into the wall. You are not a wall. You're a human being with emotions. Get out of that wall. Talk to someone. And hence, in my life, I've grown to wear my heart on my sleeve. Whoever loves will love. You know? And I think I've even started teaching other people to talk. When you have a problem, talk. If you're going to keep quiet and hide it, you're always going to have problems. You get to that stage where you think people don't want to listen. But you get to that stage, your story might be changing somebody else's life. Your story is actually healing you. That's why they always say, with this friends of mine that we used to take the substance, we always talk about it. Because you know what? Healing is talking. You're always an addict until you stop talking. But if you stop talking, there's high chances you go back. If you've ever been an abuser, why are you an abuser? So you need to find out what are the problems. But if you don't talk to an individual, you'll never know. Guys, I get it. Sometimes it's the most hardest thing. But men, we pressurize ourselves that the world needs to see us at this level, which is half the time. It kills men. And anybody, whether you're a woman and you're going through things, let that person who thinks that you are being emotional, you are being too, there's a word in English, you are being too overbearing on them. Some others will listen. I'll listen because that's me. You're literally talking to me. Even if I'm in the present, I'm John Ross Twala. That's better. But that's always going to be me, and you're always going to need to change it by yourself. Me telling a person about me trying to kill myself. If you heard, I've said me, because I've understood what I've done. Now you tell me your story. And I'm prepared. And a lot of guys, I'm full where I come from. And I say to them, there's a lot of guys now, they're on CAT, they're on that, they want to try business. Come talk to me. Let's talk. Sometimes it can be a conversation over coffee. It doesn't need to be a drink. Sometimes we can be sharing a Coca-Cola. But the most important thing is we are talking. You're talking to heal, you're talking to grow. Talking is important.
Yeah.
I learned me keeping myself and saying, I'm not going through anything. It really got me to the stage where I wanted to do stuff to myself. Now that I talk and I've learned to talk, I'm better.
So now what happens when you've moved from that phase, right? And you've got the encouragement from your friend Tammy to say push, right? Then you meet a couple of people, and I don't want to mention the names, and you are so close by the door, and you know what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
where you are about to do what you're doing now, but with another group of individuals.
Man.
And you're seeing the light, the door is there, the door is open, you're about to get into this new life that you've always wanted to, and it gets shut.
Oz. Funny enough, just last week and on Wednesday, we were talking about that exact scenario with people now who are colleagues who are doing well in different places, same industry, different countries. But it felt like a lot was getting taken away from me. It felt like my trying wasn't seen. As at some stage, people fail to understand. It's not about money. Where do I come from with this guy? And when money changes the pattern of who you are, I used to believe in this individual. I looked at him and I was like, you're a cool guy. Look up to you. the world today doesn't view him the same. Yes, there's deals that were paid, there's deals that got him through the door, but there's ethics and there's people who've helped you get there. But once you start not realizing those people as, you lose faith in the individual that you believed in. And a lot of people get into business because we want to make money. But should money change you? Should money change you? Because I'm in business with you means that the slightest chance I get 20 million, it changes the dynamics of person that I am. That means I'm a weak individual. That means I'm allowing control of money over the morality of who a person is. Change me.
Did you ever confront him after?
I've wanted to, but would he get it? He has, and he won't.
Because he essentially closed you out of a partnership.
He did, and he took away, and that's what the world doesn't know. That there's a few individuals who know. And when you are walking into a place where a person closes you out of a partnership and believes that you are a subordinate, not a partner anymore, it changes the dynamics of a relationship. Certain contract, I'll diverge just a bit, a certain contract paid us a lot of money. Individual believed I needed this portion. In my world, if you're giving me a portion of, when you are, and I'll go back to this, when you are broke and down, anything will make you happy. Kicholi 1,000 will make you happy. Business scrutiny says that individuals that are still weak or faint-hearted, you give them a bit of something, they become happy. At some stage, I was blinded by 2,000, 4,000, 5,000.
I hear you.
Today, I don't hate this individual. I learned. Learn. There's a guy who says you learn until you drop the L and earn. I learned. And I want people to get into business, to understand business, is that when the money is, and this is where young entrepreneurs fail. We fail. I failed. Where I thought a bit of shine is all that I needed. Khanti, that shine can be taken away. And it was, you're right. And I had to relearn and relook at myself and say, my trusting in people that much should actually come to an end.
Sure. It got you to that point where now you had to reevaluate how you trust now.
How I trust.
Because I know that, the Ross of back then, you have a huge heart. I mean, you still have a huge heart. But back then, you had a huge heart and willing to... If someone says, let's go, you go. If someone says, hey, I need this, you say, okay, let's see what can be done.
Yes.
But now you're saying that experience, because I could imagine whereby you've been suffering all this long and you just get to that point whereby there's this company that is being formed, there's a partnership that's been discussed, and you're now brought into the table as an equal partner or at least a shareholder. Mm. And just before or as soon as the contracts are coming in, all of a sudden you get shut out. Mm. So you're saying that experience completely changed how you trust people from now on?
It changed.
Or from there on?
From there on, it did. I mean, I even remember, I think back then, years back, I've known you for a while now. I think back then when we sat down on the table, you were there.
Yeah, I was there actually.
You were there.
I don't know why I was there, but I was there.
No, it was the same night that we were going to perform.
Oh, is it? Okay,
at
that's
Maynos.
Oh, at Maynos. It was a Maynos concert. Okay.
A Maynos concert. But we got to a stage where and it's not me alone, and it's literally not me alone. A couple of us feel that way. Until today, we still feel this way. Because what was meant to be percentage ended up turning around not to be that. I remember once I called Osborne Namakawa and I'm like, no, this guy is partnership. And he's like, I don't understand because you should be at least 30 to 40% owned. They told me that I have to buy my shares.
Sure.
There's Tammy was disappointed as well as that when he gave me the money to actually, we were supposed to buy a couple of things for a project, to start a project. We did it. We got the capital. Biza Namakabani gave me money. Today, I'm meant to look like a liar. Yes, I got into, I'll confess something, and I think I've said it to Spider. To get into the industry, I got it through the industry, through him. But what I bought is I bought the business growth. We were with a certain company. It kind of tumbled now. We were grown. We were in the business. And I'm like, Envedu, I struggled. Can get taxi late at night. Going back to Hillbrow. My neighbors, because the life of Hillbrow, you're either stealing and you're doing something or you're coming back from home late. You're waitering. Understand? You're phoning people to wait. I still remember Connor Smith and Nugget. To turn around and you say, no, but buy your percentage. Come on. There's no bigger hurt that I felt when you love a person and love turns into numbness. That's how I felt. To this individual, I feel like that. I thought, like with my guys, even the guys who work for me, they're like, no, we work for this guy, but I feel like I can talk to him as a brother. I felt that. So it got to that stage where he killed my trust. To get into business, people, and to trust people in business, I always say, and I say this to my wife, it takes extra long for me to just trust a person.
Okay. Now I'm setting the new scene.
Yeah.
Because that guy got enough airtime. We're done with him now. So it was the Black A3 and the pretending, as well as all the people around you who were also in pretense, right? And some were good and some were horrible beings. Then we got into Hillbrow. Although it cuts across the Hillbrow story, but you get to Hillbrow where it's you're in a situation where your life has essentially plummeted, been persistently trying to commit suicide, not seeing the light at all. Then we got into a point where you were just about to see the light, where there was a creation of a company, possible partnership, and again, just before you open the door into success, someone lets you down significantly. Again, everyone is against you. Now, all of that has happened. Where are we now?
Oh, man. Now, again, I got to thank Tammy.
Wow.
Again, I got to thank Tammy. Because with that happening, so I tell you this, we're living in the East, and Tammy said something. It's like, no, man. And there's a friend of mine who's in Zim. Oh, man, those guys, he's in Zim. And it's like, start your own entity. I can see it. And 2011, wrote. Nobody knew. I'm dead broke. All I could afford is, when you go in town, like I used to get, they like chopped up turkey, sharp, and writing. So I come back again. No, I move back home. Now this time around, my dad takes me in with my stepmom. And now I'm back. So I'm on a parallel two things. With that other person, we struck a deal, we struck a deal which we did. Was I underpaid? Yes. very much so. Do I see my value when that happened? But with that portion of money I took and I moved out of home, I took and I put it into business, into Canik, the business I have now. Tammy designed the logo, Tammy designed everything in his life. I don't care what happens, John Ross. You're going to succeed. So Canik was registered in 2012. Started operating properly 2013. I'm very high-paced in my energy when it comes to my business. I put it, it's my baby that's now 10 years old, and it's doing remarkably well. But to just touch on what Tammy did, even registering the company, taking it and saying, this is what the future looks like. We had a beautiful lady who worked for us, and I still respect that lady till today. I didn't have a car. She had a Polo Vivo, and she's like, I don't care what's going to happen. You're going to make it work. Fast forward, Tammy wanted to do commodities, and I'm like, hey, Tammy, I can't do commodities, so we split. So Canik was also a commodities company. So we split the company, and Tammy's like, cool, take the company, run it as you, because our energies, and that's why I say it's important to be friends before you have business. And if, we had our differences, but till today I respect this man for one thing. He never said, no, we studied together, what so forth. And our friendship was more important than the business. And he was like, run. Till today, he still keeps on saying, run. So I remember when he signed over the papers, it's like signing over and trips and traps. He could see because he was still there as a director, and at FNB, he can still see the money come in. This 10,000, 20,000 that comes into the business. Never did he ever say, I want that money. I don't physically gamble, but I gamble the correct way. I take the risks calculatively, and I took a couple of risks. The one risk there's a project I did, I had to borrow literally 1.5 million. And that's when Tammy's like, I can't, I'm on the side outside the company. Yeah. Took that risk. Yeah. And at that time, my wife and I, my wife and I, we just, in 2015, got my firstborn, Jordan. And it's like, let's take the risk. And I'm like, wife, man, we're taking the risk and there's this little guy here. But I had a couple of savings from another deal that we did with that other company. So I said, and Tammy again said, I'm not going to take the risk. You've got the balls to take this risk. Took the risk, paid out. I paid a lot of school fees, meaning that I was still learning some crafts of now how to do the business alone. Where I got into a deal with a big lighting brand of South Africa, still partnered with them till today. When I do big projects across Africa, I still do it with them. When I got into business with them, the people who are managing, because they wanted it off the ground, I lost a lot of money. But that was learning. I didn't know how to build properly. But they also were good confidants in training me of how to do this, which now I've learned to extrapolate throughout my whole business. But I've also learned how to get people to help me in my business, because you can't do it alone. So again, going back, and then now we do this Tammy makes me laugh, and it's like, please, every time we do well, you know that you got to do this for me. So it's a funny thing that we do once in a while. It's like, he wants a bottle or something, and he doesn't want anything more, And the biggest part of him doing that was the biggest motivation in saying, some people are really there for you. He doesn't want anything. There's no courts, there was no nothing. Till today, he always says, your success is my success. You're my brother and you're shining. And I hope you're proud of yourself. And and I always say to people, coming out of that, I haven't tried killing myself in over 12, 13 years now. Do I think of it? No. Does things get hard? Yes. But am I in a better position? I'm smiling. Never used to smile a lot. I wake up to a beautiful wife, to 2 beautiful kids, a business that's, growing, This is one thing I'm not going to be humble about. It's thriving. It's growing. God is doing what he said he's going to do. By then I didn't have the patience to trust in God. Do I trust in God now? Yes. Do I visit the church every Sunday? No. But like I said in the beginning of our conversation, I have a good relationship with him. Now, everybody, and I take my inspiration. My mom, I'm going to show her this podcast, but my mom was the biggest motivator. My mom used to work behind a till in Woolworths. This is about 15 years ago. Till in Woolworths, Bedford, Balfour Park. My mom got a quality taxi. My mom's first car she got, and she drives now. Mom is 64. My mom bought her first, she got a license 4 years ago. She bought her first car 3 years ago. But she moved. She lives in a beautiful estate in the south. She has a couple of flats. That moved and showed me that wherever you are in life, you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself. I look at where my wife is and who she is and what she's done for me. My wife is an accountant. People used to say, why are you marrying a guy who's an entrepreneur? My wife always used to say, I can see something in John Ross Todd. And if that didn't motivate me, I don't know what could have. Till today, we sit down with some of my closest friends that you know, and we talk. I'll mention their name because they do a lot for me and the motivation, and we motivate each other daily. There's a guy called Petelo, Aite, Tami again, Bongs as well. It's a group that we have constant conversations. There's guys who do my books, Atlehang and Tselelo. You get Khalido who's in construction. Sometimes things are hard. But we always come back to the table and we always say, what next? It's like, hey, I've lost that deal, but I've got two more small ones. We always say in our lingo, like, Sibonga isinkwa, meaning we thank you, Lord, for the small, in order to be grateful for the big thing. Thank you for just a slice of bread, which people don't have. And I'm grateful that us daily I'm able to teach people about my business. Till today, every guy who does installations, we do my installations. Guys have cars. Guys have family. Yes, it's a lot on my shoulder because I need to make sure there's work.
We need to wrap up. However, I just want you to brag a bit. Tell us real quick in 2-3 minutes about your business. How can people get a hold of you if they're also interested in transacting with your services?
My company is called Canek. full name Consulting Africa's Next Energy Generation. We do solar installation, so it's the whole PV installation, residential, commercial, and industrial. And we also do a lot of electrical and maintenance work as well. So you can catch me on www.canek.co.za, jrtwala@canek.co.za, 083 777 2848.
My leader.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And yeah, man, that wraps it up. That is episode 4 of a very beautiful conversation. Oz okay. Big shout out to John Ross for honoring this invitation.
Thank you.
And honestly, I really hope that it really is beneficial to those who maybe are also in the dark. And clearly, there is opportunity and light at the end of that long tunnel of life that we always live in and the struggles that we go through. So again, once again, thank you for watching the show. Do subscribe. It's also okay. Podcast on YouTube and follow us on the various other social media networks. Shots.
Sure.
Ricky Rose! Bro, your story is beautiful, bro.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. I hope it changes, man.
Your story is beautiful. But tell us down.
Man.